Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga, the Yoga of Divine Glories, and verse number 4 and 5. They are knitted together. First point to understand that you are being led to have deep insight into liberation. Moksha is the goal of life. And moksha means a revelation and realization. Aham Brahma. I am Brahman, the Absolute. But in order to come to that state, integral yoga has to play a great part in your personality. Integral yoga is the means by which you will come to attain that goal. Integral means, again reiterating, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, devotion, Dhyana Yoga, meditation, and Jnana Yoga, that's the practice of vichara, inquiry leading to revelation. All these four enter your personality because you are always a blend of action, emotion, will and reason. So all these four are constantly operating just like in a music, four chords of veena. So, your life must flow in such a way that instead of listening to constant miseries and melodies, rather maladies, not melodies, your mind becomes increasingly inspired by the divine presence behind all things. Nothing is of a greater source of inspiration than the awareness that God permeates this entire universe. And that is bhakti coming to a climax. And if that happens, then Jnana opens its window. Aham Brahmasmi. That God whom you have seen glorified through the whole world, Ghat Ghat mein, in every name and form, God is a permeating reality. Easily said, but your mind should be thrilled, not just say it in palavras. If you really have understood it. And so, that ideal state of understanding is attained progressively. Just like, give a very simple illustration, when you teach literature to children, first you start giving them big letters. A, B, C. You don't want that. Ka, ka. Big one. But as you advance, you totally move away from it. It goes into such a spontaneity that hardly you know which letter you are using and how you are writing. So first, turning your mind to some special experiences, special objects of the world, special aspects of the world, special aspects of your own personality, that inspires your mind. Allow your mind to become positive by viewing that aspect of your personality or of the world. So if the mind becomes busy with picking up pearls instead of picking up dewdrops, so dewdrops are everywhere, allegorically. Now, what are these pearls that you have to pick up? And that's how we are starting with various bhavana. Feeling within you works the marvels. So, come to admire the role of your feeling. Each great feeling, how it creates a totally changed atmosphere in your psychological setup. Behind that, there is a touch of God. So bhavana that inspires you, that's called Sada bhavana. Bhavana, feelings that are leading you to Sat, absolute truth. But these are now subtle details, and these are various virtuous qualities and many other things. And let me bring to you. Buddhirajnana sammoha, kshama satyam dama shamaha, sukham dukham bhavo bhavo, bhayam cha bhayameva cha, ahimsa samata tushti, tapodanam yasho yasha, bhavanti bhava bhutanam, mattayeva pridhagvidha. Buddhi, the miracle of miracles. See the work of buddhi within you. Your buddhi suddenly came to resolve a problem. At that time, turn your eyes to God. Katak. That it is God's katak. Is a little eye flash towards you, enabled you to succeed in solving the problem. So, instead of patting your ego, recognize the miracle of divine presence, the miracle of God being the guiding hand behind you. So every act of your intellectual insight should put your mind to such a positive state that is turned towards love of God. The more good insight, more love of God. Because from Him comes that opening of knowledge. So, buddhi is that insightful understanding in facing various challenges and facing various conditions. Wisdom. Wisdom is that type of understanding that is leading you to self-realization. Jnanam. If you have jnana, you don't stay in the same state. Your personality goes on changing for the better in a spiritual way. A change is a transformation. A larva changes into a butterfly. That type of change is brought about in jnana. Asammoha. lack of delusion. Here again, you can see in your own personality how you deal with people. If you are a mother dealing with a child, you can view how there are times when you have faced your child only out of your own delusional love. Otherwise, you are keeping your delusion away, looking into the benefit of what will benefit the child. So you can see the difference between moha and being free of moha. Each time you develop that insight or that experience, turn backward. God is looking at you. Upadrashta. So all these are vibhutis of God. Glories of God manifesting so close to your own personality. Forgiveness, another big miracle of God. How you stir up with so much anger and hate, but your angle changes by God's grace. And now, instead of keeping your heart agitated, with hot water being poured into the vessel of your heart, cool sarbat comes in your heart. How does it feel? Miracle. The very operation of Kshama is God's glory. Truth doesn't require much explanation. Truth is like the shining sun. Satyameva jayate. But your movement towards truth is progressive. As you go on discovering the strength of sincerity and becoming more and more sincere, more and more thought, word, and action, these three are harmonized, simplified. That's the process of following the movement towards satyam, truth. And every step you are taking is bringing out glory of God. Because truth itself is God. In reality, truth is nothing but God, the divine self. Control of senses. That is another miracle. How senses dominate your mind. But suddenly come to realize senses are your horses. And your mind has the ability to control the horses. Mind is the reins. Your intellect is the driver. Not going into too much details, but just to understand that when you are able to control your senses, you see a touch of glory of God. Control of mind, whenever you are able to work that out, the mind is completely under a negative feeling. And then there comes a stage where your mind is completely calm and relaxed. And miracle of miracles, you did it by following and changing your course of sadhana, your course of thinking. And when you experience that, again, look back. Whose kita kripa kataksh is helping you to do that? Joy. Every time you feel so much joyous. Now you are as if looking through a window into the ocean of joy. And who has opened that window? God within. Sorrow. Even when you feel a sense of sorrow in your mind, It simply means your mind is aware of where happiness is. The lack of happiness is being experienced by your mind. And if you didn't experience it, you will not go after happiness. So even sorrow, what seems negative, you see a thorn in the rose bush, but this thorn plays a great role in bringing out the beautiful flower. So when you think of that, how thorns can bring flowers, you adore thorns. How your sorrows bring your mind to a state of inquiry, where will be the end of my sorrow? And it's a progressive movement. Each time you are able to correct your sorrow through understanding and through devotion, there is touch of God. And even while sorrow is there, you are in Ashoka Vatika. Ashoka means sorrowless. Under God's protection, you don't have to be really trapped by misery. The trap is only apparent, not real. And who tells you? God within you. So therefore, the role of sorrow is also bringing out the vibhuti of God. Birth and death doesn't require much explanation. The miracle of birth and the miracle of death. Fear and fearlessness. How fear suddenly deprives you of all your strength. You become like a little jackal, rabbit. Fearlessness, become like a lion. So, the miracle, see the miracle. And that's the glory of God. To experience the glory of God, you don't have to go far and wide. All this is happening in your own personality. Next, ahimsa, non-violence. See the miracle of non-violence. Any thought of hatred, any ill will towards others, and at gross level, the will to see others hurt. And in that happening, developing the illusion that you are somehow becoming happier and safer. That's delusional. But rather you begin to develop a sense of greater strength when you do not hold grudge against people who have, due to their own abnormalities, behaved wrongly towards you. From practical point of view, you save yourself from the abnormalities of others, just like you do with the viruses. Put over your mask. From a practical level, do everything possible. From your internal level, calm, quiet, and people who express negativity have tender heart towards them. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. So, power of non-violence. This was brought out through the life of Mahatma Gandhi. How it was such a powerful process of raising the culture of society and dealing with troublesome time The strength of non-violence is beyond imagination. Ahimsa paramo dharma. But holding on to ill will in your mind goes on depleting your inner strength and filling your mind with garbage. Equanimity. How great is the achievement when you have trained your mind to be balanced in different conditions, not become agitated. You have equanimity. You can put all your problems aside any moment and allow your mind to be completely as if you are diving in the ocean of joy, in the ocean of peace. Contentment, tripti. That also ordinary fulfillment of a desire is not tripti. Because once desire is fulfilled, you are encouraged to have more of the same desire. The real tripti is that you don't desire anymore. Real fulfillment versus illusory fulfillment. The real fulfillment that nourishes your heart and makes you discover that you have such divine source of fulfillment within your own heart. That movement is vibhuti of God. When you see your mind from discontent moving to contentment and enjoying the thrill that arises out of it, in that you are seeing the touch of God. Similarly, charity, the heart that is miserly, now becomes magnanimous. Charity is not just giving money charitably, but charitable understanding. When you view people with a magnanimous heart, you don't go after their defects. Your love operates in a way that promotes goodness in people around you. Doing good to others and feeling joyous about it. And in that movement, how much good can you do? Your heart does not put any restriction. That's called charity in a profound way. Fame. Naturally, you become more and more popular, recognized, just like flower that has good blossom. Along with it begins to waft fragrance. So, and when you discover how your personality is impacting on others, unbeknown to you, understand the glory of God. That's vibhuti. And infamy. Even in this state of infamy, when people point to your negative qualities or negative personality and sometimes misinterpret your goodness because of their limitation. And even in that condition, you remain detached. And that there lies vibhuti of God. 6th verse. Maharshaya sapta purve chatvaro manavastatha madbhava manasa jata yesham loka ima praja. The 7 great rishis and the 4 ancient manus were endowed with my power and born of my mind. From these progenitors came forth all the living creatures of the world. It's a highly allegorical statement. First, on the literal basis, all souls are following the path of evolution. But who were their progenitor, the very beginning stage, fathers, but who is the beginning level? They are the 7 great rishis. But beginning level means your potential. The divine potential unfolds in 7 stages, what known as Jnana Bhumikas. And those 7 rishis, they are the presiding deities of 7 steps of wisdom. Just like, to put it in a very simple way, when you look at illuminations of the sun, reflected suns are in so many predicaments. But who were their forefathers of your reflected suns? The sun. That's why you also see in the scriptures, who were the forefathers of Ravana? Who were the forefathers of Kansa? All demoniac personalities had their source in divine source. So 7 great rishis represent those 7 steps. Shubhecha, Vicharada, Tanumanasi, Sattvapatti, Asamsakti, Padartha Bhavana, and Turiya. 4 ancient manus they represent your 4 aspects of the Antakarana. 4 aspects. Mana, buddhi, chitta, hamkar, mind, intellect, unconscious, ego. These, in their divine state, they are all cosmic. So that divine mind is the progenitor of your little minds. So those progenitors, rishis, and 4 ancient manus were endowed with my power. That's Brahman's power. Born of my mind is allegorical. They are all Brahman, expressing in those roles through Maya. From these progenitors came forth all the living creatures of the world. All souls are being led to. They exist in order to attain liberation. So every soul has those potentials that will make the soul ascend the steps of wisdom, 7 steps, as if they are communing with 7 great sages. And similarly, purify your antahakarana as if you are communing with great manus. Whoever realizes the truth of my divine glories, etam vibhutim yogam cha mam yo vetti tattvata So vikampena yogena yujyate natra sanshaya. Whoever realizes the truth of my divine glories and my divine yoga becomes endowed with the yoga of unending wisdom. There is no doubt about that. This is the purpose of vibhuti yoga. If you go on recognizing the glory of God in all these bhavanas, feelings and sentiments, as well as all your insights, etc., whatever operates through your body, personality, if you recognize the presence of God and the role of His glory, then you are bound to attain self-realization. The realization, aham brahmasmi. I am no longer body, mind, intellect. I am the absolute self. I am not the sun shaking in every jar. I am the absolute sun. So whoever realizes the truth of my glories, so it's a progressive movement. First to recognize the predicament in which the soul has come to, led by ignorance. Then gradually allow the soul to breathe a kind of spiritual oxygen. It is not completely crushed, completely imprisoned, but there is room for receiving touch of God. And when the soul becomes interested deeply in enjoying closeness with God, the closeness comes in progressive movement until there is a revelation that God whom you love and who is inspiring you to progress, you are essentially the same God. Brahman. You are being led by, you are a reflected self, being led by the self, who is the knower, who is the enjoyer. You are, when you reflect upon these subtle points, come to the climax. And the climax is aham brahmasmi. I am the enjoyer, I am the doer. That I am is absolute. Brahman. And that's the goal of life. Now once you have attained that, it's called avikampena yogena. Avikamp, now you can't be shaken. When the reflected sun has come to realize I am the sun, even though apparently shaking, it cannot be shaken. It's shaking for children. Children see this reflected sun shaking in a jar, and they are happy. They put their finger in. Shake more. The shaking predicament is in the stage of ignorance. The sun never shakes. That unshaken attainment, that's your goal of life. That's liberation. 9th verse, rather the 8th. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti mattva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. I am the source of all this creation has proceeded from me. Thus knowing, the wise meditate upon me with profound devotion. Source of all, and that relates to a profound understanding. Your experience of the world is in three planes. Bhur, bhuva, swa. Bhur, physical plane. The world experience, physical reality. Your house, your various objects you depend upon, and people you encounter, relatives and friends. All this that experience is Bhur experience. Bhuva, experience in your sentiments, feelings. And Swa, experience in the plane of your understanding. Three lokas are put together, and the equal experience of the world process. All the three lokas, the source is Brahman. When you look at reflected sun, the reflected sun is dealing with the jar. It's Bhur Loka. It is dealing with many reflected suns, many forms of reflection, of illuminations of the sun. They are its near and dear ones. That's kind of the feeling level. I'm giving a crude illustration. And the reality of this reflected sun is the absolute sun. So all different planes in which the reflected sun is trying to communicate with the sun, all those planes are in the realm of Maya. In other words, you move away from Bhurloka, practical reality, sentimental reality, and intellectual reality, and discover absolute reality. That's the purpose of sannyasa. Bhu sannyastam maya, bhuva sannyastam maya, swa sannyastam maya. And moving away from all these becomes possible when there is profound devotion. Para-bhakti. Para-bhakti and jnana are one and the same. Macchitta madgat prana bodhayantaha parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. With their minds wholly devoted to me, with their pranas entirely dedicated to me, enlightening each other and conversing about me always, they, my devotees, enjoy contentment and bliss. This gives you a whole picture of integral yoga. Their mind wholly devoted to me. That is practice of Dhyana. Their pranas entirely dedicated to me. That's Karma Yoga. Enlightening each other. That's Jnana. Jnana Yajna. Conversing about me always. Bhakti is implied. They, my devotees, enjoy contentment and bliss. Contentment, param tripti, desires, no desires, absolute fulfillment, and ananda, bliss. This theme has been brought in other verses of the Gita and one of the very important verse was Manamana bhava madbhakta madhyaji mam namas guru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Manamana bhava. Turn your mind to me. Dhyana movement, meditation. Madbhakta. Be a devotee of God. Madhyaji. Perform your karma in the form of yajna. You are sacrificing the lower self and sublimating your disintegrated energy to integrated energy, short-circuited to right stage. Mam namaskuru, let your ego completely melt in God. That's jnana aspect. And thus you become united with God forever. And just to give you an echo of the same teaching coming from the Bible, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. That's devotion. With all thy soul, wisdom, and so forth. Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. The 10th verse. To them whose minds are ever steadfast on the divine self. So this is the highest ideal climax of vibhuti practice. As you lead your mind to inspiring presence of God in different steps, then it becomes completely steadfast in revelation. I am the absolute. And the worship of God becomes sahaj, spontaneous, ceaseless practice of devotion. Whoever has that state of ceaseless devotion, I impart the yoga of wisdom by which they attain me. Bhakti perfects itself by para bhakti. Para bhakti is same as jnana, absolute wisdom. Absolute wisdom is same as Brahman alone. And with this I will conclude. Om. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras, grace of God over all, with the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukmva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat.